Live from New York, it's the show that's rooting for the Phillies, all of us, including Dusty. It's First Things First. Today,
I actually want to ask.
I mean, he's talking directly to you, Brew. I know he named
my man Micah.
But
I'm listening.
He's talking to you, Brew.
2 words describe it. Same energy.
Yeah.
And he's right, but here's why. 1, you're America's team.
the Patriots?
Okay.
No.
Yeah, sure.
Although they're getting a little of that because of the success, because they're 1-5 when we're talking about them.
Yes,
Yeah.
true.
But the Cowboys are America's team. They're an S-Bob team. We're going to talk about you.
True.
And 2, you got to understand there is more energy for the Cowboys because of that and because of what do I always say?
They're an
the
S-Bob team.
ownership.
Oh, yeah.
The culture.
Don't do
that
podcasts.
your own. No. Micah's under the culture.
Sure.
Jerry Jones has created a culture where Cowboys are not just a team, they're an industry.
Yes, that part's true.
They don't lose just a game, it's an experience.
Well, then, so you
because
agree
he's
with him.
always run. No, I agree with Micah.
Yeah.
I agree, but he has to understand why we give more energy to the Cowboys. Like I said, they're America's team, so like the Lakers and the Yankees, everything is magnified. All right?
Okay.
We pay more attention to the Cowboys than all these other teams. And secondly, he has to understand the benefits of that. All right? Micah's benefiting from this. And he brought up Dak, all right? Dak Prescott has been treated like a celebrity quarterback, even though he hasn't made the Pro Bowl since 2018. Why? Even though he hasn't gotten to an NFC title game ever.
Sure.
Why? Because he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. So we're giving Dak Prescott more energy than we're giving to Kirk Cousins, than we're giving to other quarterbacks who may have done even more than Dak Prescott.
Sure.
And then Micah is in that as well. Micah is the most talked about defensive player in the league, like in a positive way.
That's true.
Right? TJ Watt has had a better career and is having a better season this year. Is anybody comparing TJ Watt to Lawrence Taylor?
No, that's true.
Myles Garrett, do we talk about Myles Garrett as much as we talk about Micah?
We probably should.
So Micah and Dak and the Cowboys in general.
So you're saying it cuts both ways?
I think he's right.
Okay.
But it's a positive that he has to understand.
All right, so first of all, I'm very surprised to hear you say all of that. I agree with almost all of it. Second of all, I think it was even more impressive than what you said is how you said it, considering, in fact, I'm pretty sure you hurt yourself pounding your chest right beforehand. You seemed winded at the beginning of that, but that was outstanding. Here's the thing, though. I do think it is fair to judge different teams by different standards. And if people want to argue the Niners have earned a different benefit of the doubt than any other NFC team because of their perennial contention and success. And I know, at least I said going into the game, and I think this whole table believes the Niners last year would have beaten the Eagles if Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt. And so then similar to how I say very openly, I don't judge the Chiefs by the same standard as the Bills. Like the Chiefs certainly have earned it. If there's a team next most earned it, it's the Niners. That's fair. But the Eagles haven't, in my opinion, and I think Dak is 100% correct.
They just went to the Super Bowl.
Yes, the Eagles just had one great season. That is correct. But they
won a Super Bowl not too long ago either.
Yeah, but no one,
Different
aside
team.
from Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson, it's not the same team. Let me explain it.
I mean, I get it,
Wildes.
but
I do not think that when we talk about, he's talking about Dak Prescott. I do not think Jalen Hurts should have earned such a greater benefit of the doubt than Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts has had one awesome season. One awesome season.
That's fair.
That Jalen Hurts, if Dak Prescott, they both played the Jets. Micah's point, I think, was we blow them out, and everyone says doesn't matter. They're a bad team. It was said on this show. The Eagles lose to them, and lose to them because of a Jalen Hurts mistake, and people are ready to be like, okay, it's not a big deal. The fact of the matter is
He's lost 2 games in like 2 years.
Okay, but so that's, again, I'm not the quarterback wins guy as much as you, but
What are we doing? One guy went to the Super Bowl. The other guy can't get to his own conference championship game.
So you think it is just clear-cut, unquestioned Jalen Hurts better player than Dak Prescott?
Yes.
You think
What's the evidence that he's not?
Well, I think that since he's coming in the league, they're equivalent players.
Well, last year, how many interceptions
No.
did Jalen Hurts have last year?
Oh,
6.
okay, well,
how many? And where did he go? Where did the season end up? The Super Bowl.
Right, and this this is exactly, I think, Micah's point. Is what is the millstone that hung around Dak's neck from last year? The interceptions.
Yeah.
And this year, who other than Jimmy Garoppolo and Mac Jones, who's the only player in the league with 7 picks? There's 3 guys: Jimmy Garoppolo, Mac Jones, and Jalen Hurts. And if the Cowboys had lost to the Jets because of a Dak Prescott essential pick 6, I do think he would have been pilloried in a way Jalen wasn't. And the point that I was making, we can show you their numbers this year and their numbers since Jalen became a starter. This year, Dak has been more criticized while also being the more effective player. Over the course of their career, we can show you the numbers. The argument that Jalen, now you can say, well, you believe his trajectory is better, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Over the course of their career, the idea that Jalen Hurts is this head and shoulders guy that's better is just not true. 2 years ago, he was not better. This year, he's not been better. Last year Jalen Hurts was exceptional, and last year, he was better than Dak's been at any point of his career.
Right.
That would be the best
Dak's
season.
never been in the MVP conversation.
No, his rookie year was the only year he got votes. Right. And so I agree with that. But I think Mike is absolutely correct that there is an element of unearned benefit of the doubt given to the Eagles and an element of wild skepticism unearned given to the Cowboys.
Why? Because the Cowboys were good when I was in high school.
No,
I've seen the Eagles be good in different stages, including last year's Super Bowl.
Oh.
I've seen Jalen Hurts be consistently excellent.
No, you've seen him be excellent one season.
And
one season you've seen him be excellent.
I don't think it's so much people giving the Niners and the Eagles and other teams, for that matter, the benefit of the doubt as much as it is, do you understand, Micah, what the Cowboys are?
That's
when
fair.
What other owner in professional sports talks every week and runs his mouth and says controversial things that put your team under the microscope? Jerry Jones puts his team under the microscope. So we are all focused on them and everything is magnified. To me, it's as simple as that.
Yeah. Dusty, I hope the Eagles crush the Cowboys. I'm just anti-Cowboys.
Well, I mean, but hold on. Can we just...
Because of Micah? Because of this?
Are the Cowboys as good as the Lions? I'm starting to get like a little bit annoyed. Sorry, I don't want to do it on national television.
Wow.
No,
I'm just annoyed by it. Okay. Are the Cowboys as good as the Lions?
Right now, no.
Okay.
How
often
are
does
the Eagles as good as the Lions? Are the Eagles right now as good as the Lions?
No, but the Eagles are better than the Cowboys.
Okay, so what? Okay, so
I'm starting to get bothered by the media, but I'm part of the media, and I know that people watch the Cowboys, but it's annoying.
But let's keep it real. Are the Lakers as good as the Nuggets? No. We're going to talk more about the Lakers.
But that's also
there's
a separate discussion, I think, too. The Eagles versus the Cowboys over the last 25 years, and the Eagles with the Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts combo versus the Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy combo. And the point that I am trying to make is that 2 years ago, the Cowboys were the better team, clearly. Last year, the Eagles were the better team, clearly. This year, I think it's up in the air. I think that is yet to be determined, and I think the Cowboys, at least for part of the season, if not by the end of the season, will be the ones in first place in their division. And right now, it looks like this season, Dak is playing better than Jalen Hurts, and when I said that, it was as if it was anathema.
Phenomenally.
And so Jalen Hurts was unbelievable last year, and he was spectacular in the Super Bowl. It is fair to say that the year before, and thus far this year, he was nowhere close to that caliber of player.
He was.
What?
Well, that's because Dak was fully formed who he was, and Jalen's trajectory is straight up.
Right,
so it's when his trajectory was down here, all right, well, he got better and brought his team to the Super Bowl.
But when Dak was in that phase of Jalen's career, he also was the 1 seed.
Well,
he
was
also
he in
won
the Super Bowl?
13
Dak
games.
was
And what happened?
Dak was where Jalen is. I mean, he's never been to the Super Bowl like this, but there was a point where we thought Dak was rising and would keep rising. And now we've said, you know what, he's not going to rise.
And to answer your question,
Jalen's still in that rising phase of his career.
Wildes, but to answer your question, what happened that year? He played an all-time legendary quarterback, had an all-time legendary playoff game, and lost 30-something to 30-something. It was Dak versus Aaron Rodgers. It was Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts. But it was the best year of their career. They had 20-something touchdowns, under 5 interceptions or single-digit interceptions. They were in the MVP discussion but didn't win it, and their team fell short. Now, yes, for Dak, he had to play that guy in the divisional round instead of in the Super Bowl. But I just think there is some revisionist history on some of this stuff. That's all.
All right, let's go back to the game. End of the first half, time winding down. Is Mike McCarthy the weak link in the Cowboys team?
Yeah, obviously. Obviously. And I mean, listen, it's one that teams can overcome. I would have argued when the Bengals made the Super Bowl, their weak link was their head coach. They overcame it. Like, it's not, obviously, you would rather that not be the case. But, I think the Niners' weak link is their quarterback. I think that's more damaging. But what happened on Monday night can't happen. Part of the cost of doing business with McCarthy is going to be some of timeout mismanagement. Some, I would say, overly conservative play calls. I can deal with that. That's, to me, almost baked into it. But objectively, or abjectly, I should say, saying to the world, don't trust my quarterback, can't happen. Because the Cowboys, particularly with Diggs down, are not good enough to be the team that is an S-Bob team without getting, Pro Bowl-ish level quarterback play. They don't need Dak to be the best quarterback in the league. They don't even need him. He doesn't even have to be the best quarterback in the NFC. But they have to get clear-cut top 10 quarterback play. And if your coach is coaching the games like you think you don't have that, like you think you have a team that you have to protect from the quarterback, then they have no chance of reaching where they need to go to.
But I'm thinking, you're saying Dak's got to give them clear-cut top 10 play.
Yeah.
That's a question mark. That's a major question mark. And look, McCarthy has his issues, the clock management, all of that. He's more of a macro coach than a micro coach, all right? And in the macro, I have to give him a few flowers. They had won 12 games twice in the previous 12 seasons before he got there. Now, obviously, they've had back-to-back 12-win seasons. They have been in the top 10 in points allowed and points scored in the last 3 years, including this one. That hadn't happened since the 90s when they were winning Super Bowls. So you have to say, you know what? Overall, he has done a good job. It is these little moments that'll, could be a problem for the Cowboys. But I also think they got concerns about Dak. Like you said, will he be a top 10 quarterback? Look, two of his last 3 playoff games, he had a quarterback rating under 70, a passer rating under 70. And we know 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in those games. I think the red zone efficiency, some might try to put some of that on McCarthy. I think they miss Ezekiel Elliott down there. I think they miss the tight end as well.
Right now, the whole league
Schultz is helping out C.J. Stroud in Houston.
That's true, but right now, kind of one of the stories the first 6 weeks is there's this really good article written about this. I think it was on The Ringer. I could be wrong. About how the whole league is struggling in the red zone right now. I understand the Cowboys the Cowboys are even amongst the whole league struggling, but for some reason right now the whole league red zone efficiency is down. I guess here would be my point, Wildes. If Dak is not a top 10 guy that can't get you that level of play, A-, B+ quarterback play, they can't make the Super Bowl. So if Bru's right that they're a Super Bowl or bust team, then it's almost like, listen, we are running late for the airport. We're going to miss our flight. I think this shortcut will get me there. We might end up in the woods, but if we don't try it, we've missed our flight anyway. You've got to go. Well, you've got to put your faith into Dak, because if you act like, no, we're going to go game manager, run game, you're not good enough.
But that was the whole plan, to simplify the offense.
To simplify the offense.
Part of the problem is Pollard
has not been amazing.
And I think it's because he's smaller. Like, he benefited from Zeke.
There's a reason that even in college he only got a dozen carries.
Right, he was a larger receiver.
Yeah.
Banging, Zeke softened up the defense, and Pollard then broke runs. But he's averaging less than 4 yards a carry now.
That's your guy. Odds to win the NFC. San Francisco still at number 1. Eagles at 2. Followed by Dallas, Detroit, and then Seattle. Brew, which team do you trust most in the NFC?
The Niners have clearly, I don't even think it's arguable, been the best team so far, all right, despite that loss on Sunday. Because I said this before, they were going to lose, they'll probably lose again to a team that's worse than them.
Sure.
It just happens. Chiefs probably will, this is the NFL, all right? But because of their injuries, like right now, and they're not serious injuries, but Debo's banged up, Christian McCaffrey's banged up. And these guys have a history of being banged up, whether it's those guys or other 49ers players. So because it's almost like with Tua, you always have to bake that in. Will he stay healthy? I'm going to say I feel the most confidence in my Super Bowl pick, the Eagles, because I think the Eagles physically they are a team that can play with Detroit, play with the Niners physically. I think that's a question mark on the Cowboys because the Niners were too physical for them in that game. And then, of course, the Browns were too physical for the Niners.
Yep.
But I think the Eagles can play at that level. They got the best leader, I think, in Jalen Hurts. So I'm going with the Eagles.
Okay, so you said something at the beginning there, and Wild just instantly agreed. You were like, the Niners have clearly been the best team, and then you explained why it's not. No, they haven't. The answer is right now, this moment, the Detroit Lions. Right now, the Detroit Lions don't have a bad loss. They have an overtime loss against a playoff team from last year, a team that we like. The Detroit Lions have the best win of any team in the league this year. The Detroit Lions are top 8 in the NFL in points allowed and top 4 in points scored.
Yeah, but the 49ers have scored the most points and allowed the least.
I understand that.
So
The 49ers also have
And I would argue that the Niners, you could say they have the best win. I get it was going there and beating the Chiefs, but Indianapolis beat the Chiefs last year.
Hold on, what's the Niners' best win?
The Cowboys.
The Cowboys by 32.
Okay, well, it was certainly the most dominant. No, that's fair. But as far as the toughest opponent that has been beaten, I would also argue, listen, here's the other reason that as far as trust most in the NFC, the conversation that is not yet being had, but if the Lions beat the Ravens this week will be had, is that the Lions are going to be the 1 seed. Can we show you their schedule?
I like that.
Look at they play the Ravens this week. Rest of the year, 1 game against a team with a winning record.
Wow.
1 game.
That is.
And so if they're already 5-1
schedule. Wow.
And so even if they lose to the Ravens, they can get there. But we've talked about Philly's next stage. We know Dallas has a tough schedule. This is one of the benefits of being the team that got hot but didn't even make the playoffs. You get the easier schedule the next year.
Yep.
And so do I believe the Lions are going to make the Super Bowl? No, I'm not coming off my pick, all that stuff. But right now, as far as who has earned it, the Lions are an overtime away from being 6-0. They went to Kansas City and won. And my big concern for them going into the year was twofold. One is, how is Goff going to look on the road? He's looked excellent on the road, unlike last year. And is that defense going to be a sieve? Absolutely not. Aiden Hutchinson made a huge leap. Right. And so I just think the Lions...
So is that the team you trust the most?
Right now, this moment, I think they're most likely to be the 1 seed. And I think if you're the 1 seed, you have such a huge edge in the new NFL where there's not 2 byes. I think there's a lot of things going for the Lions right now.
I said that 10 minutes ago. I got yelled at.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.